And welcome back to Mixed Media Live. We're here for another awesome Monday where we get to talk about our favorite things and hopefully some of your favorite things too. And this week's going to be another great week of great topics. But before we talk about that, we should introduce ourselves. So my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. I own a company called Ariella, based out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Ben Costello. I'm a flute player and media composer living in Los Angeles.
I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a 3D modeler and game developer.
Sweet. And Mixed Media is your best podcast that you subscribe to that talks about all things art related, basically, in our particular fields that we just talked about, particularly...
The only one. It's probably the only one that does those things, to be honest. But
yeah, seriously. I mean, honestly, like, where can you find the depth and randomness simultaneously that you can on this podcast? There's stuff for beginners. There's stuff for if you want to really dive deep into a very particular, specific concept. There's stuff tangential to our art forms, whether it's business or just some abstract thoughts or whatever. It's pretty great. So I think it's a pretty good all-around show if you want to just have some fun, thinking maybe a little bit differently, deeper, or, at least entertainingly about some of your favorite things. So that's what Mixed Media is. Nothing more crazy than that. Lots of blabbing. Speaking of blabbing, how are you guys' weeks?
Mine's been all right. I had spring break, which just ended. Today's the first day of school, so it's a little bit unfortunate. I got to play a game called Operation Harsh Doorstop, which I'll be reviewing later today. And I bought Noida, which is, as Kai mentioned in our Discord, I will not be calling it only a roguelike. It's a procedurally generated. I guess the new term would be what was it? Procedural Death Labyrinth, which is I think is a good.
It's kind of
term.
A mouthful.
It is, but there is like the abbreviation for PDL, which is kind of like how we don't say massively multiplayer online role playing game, we just say MMORPG or something like that, or MOBA instead of multiplayer online battle arena, or FPS instead of first-person shooter. I guess game genres tend to be verbose, but a lot of them are just abbreviated anyways.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
How about you, Ben?
No, today, well, I guess, we have the weekend, but this is like the beginning of my spring break. No, did I do anything terribly interesting? Not really. I watched All Quiet on the Western Front, and I watched some more season 3 of Bluey, which I mentioned in a previous show. Fantastic children's show. Very cute.
Cool. Yeah, for me, I've been uber busy, like ridiculously busy. It's like I'm like teetering on the edge of burnout. But I'm like, I can see the tunnel. I can see the light at the end of the busy tunnel, which hopefully will end sometime this week. Just a lot of like confluence of deadlines, big projects, which is all good stuff. But can kind of ebb and flow in unpleasant ways sometimes. So yeah, getting through that, which is good. Released a YouTube video. So if you want to check out my YouTube channel, it's Ariella. If you look up, let's see, what can you look up to get the recent video? Probably if you look up Small Town America, Mount Carmel, or something like that, it will come up. It's a pretty feel good, hopeful piece. So yeah, I hope you check that out. But that's pretty much how my week is going.
I should add too. I've been doing a lot of like research on historic flutes, and obviously a massive topic, right? But I guess earlier this past week I actually bought a German flute from like around made somewhere in the range of 1886 to 1900. 9-key simple system flute. So.
Dang. Was it expensive to acquire? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's so I had some help from some people who really know historic flutes. And there's like this one seller in Denmark who manages to acquire a lot of really awesome historic flutes and puts them up on eBay. And they usually have nobody bidding on them. And he puts them at starting bid at like a very ridiculously low price. So, I bid on this and I was the only person to bid on it at the starting price. It was like $225.
Dang.
And pretty much like in working condition too, so which is even harder to find, like no structural damage and all that stuff. So
Yeah, sounds like a steal.
this guy, I guess, is kind of known amongst some people in the historic flute world as having a lot of cool instruments that nobody bids on. So
Sounds good to me. Yeah. And before we get to our news segment, I do want to mention four awesome people who are supporting us on Locals. That's 909 Crime, Rob Sharma, K Kairos, or Kai Kairos as he goes by on Twitch, and I'm missing one. Post. We have so many now that I should probably have the list on the screen, and that makes me super excited. Hey, Post is in the chat. Sup, Post. It's pretty exciting to have 4 people on board, and you guys have no idea how big of a difference it makes just in the psychology of doing this. I know a lot of you also make content yourselves, and you probably understand exactly what I mean. But also, it's also helpful in the sense that we're not just breaking even. We might be breaking only slightly above even, but we are basically technically above breaking even slightly, very, very slightly. But that means we're almost in the reinvesting territory. So if you're watching out there, and I'm mostly looking at the Rumble people out there, there are 3 of you watching right now. Y'all are awesome. You guys have been, the platform has been growing exponentially. I see like some esports starting to take advantage of Rumble nowadays, which is fantastic. Some huge gaming community that's starting to grow on Rumble, which is great. But y'all don't talk, which I'll tolerate that for now. But what I do need from you is I need you to hit the Rumble button if you do like it, because it does help other people find our content, and it really does help a lot. And seeing the numbers grow on Rumble is amazing. But yeah, we would appreciate all the help you can give, even if you choose to just kind of idly listen, which is totally fine. Sup 99 Crime is also in the chat. So there we go. That's the housekeeping for today. How about news?
News. I have news. So the GDC's Game Developers Conference started today. It's a 4-day long event, and I always been like, I want to go to these one day. And I was like, I wonder if I can go this year. I looked at the price. I was like, wait, this is not cheap. That's what I found out. Cheapest tickets are $300. Most expensive are about like $2,200 or something like that. So I'll be staying away from the Game Developers Conference for some time for now. I don't think it'd be worth it at the moment. As well, there are some leaks about a Lego racing game that is in the works with 2K. 2K and Lego signed some deal I think about a year ago, saying that essentially Lego, I guess paying them to create some sports or racing games. I'm not sure how many, but some amount of them. So this seems to be the first one coming out soon. And Lego has put on the Twitter that they'll have an announcement in a few days, not confirming that it's happening, that's a leak, but I mean, you put 2 and 2 together and it's probably what's going to happen. They're going to explain what that's about. So, the reason why I thought this was kind of interesting is because I feel like we're due for a new era of racing games, because we're in kind of a sucky racing game era at the moment. People generally, there's a very poor sentiment currently in terms of racing games. It could be interesting to have another competitor to the set. That being said, I've heard that it'll be more of from leaks, it'll be more of a Mario Kart racing game. So it wouldn't quite compete with literally every other racing game, which is in their own, which is in the other section of racing. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it won't be like that. It could be pretty interesting. Apparently, at the moment, it's currently in closed beta, so it's I mean, it's pretty far along. It's not like just a concept or something like that has nice trailer or something like that. It actually exists in a playable form, so that's pretty cool. As well, I think this happened. I want to say last week or 2 weeks ago. No, last week, I think. Emmett Shear, who is the CEO of Twitch, or former CEO, if you should say right now, stepped down. He was one of the founding members of Justin TV, which eventually became Twitch TV. Immediately afterwards, the vice president, who is now the CEO, took over, and 400 employees got fired. So that was interesting. That was part of a general cut down of Amazon employees in general, because Amazon owns Twitch. 9,000 employees, 400 of them are from Twitch. The other ones are from AWS and something called PXT, and from advertising. Those are the four segments that had employees cut from. 400 employees is about 30% of Twitch's staff, so it's no small cut.
Their staff wasn't actually that big. Only 1,200 employees?
It's 1,400, yeah. So a little less than 30%. It's like 29 or 28% or something like that, I think is the actual number.
Yeah.
So that happened. So a little background behind Daniel Clancy and why he makes people nervous. Well, so I'm going to say, I'm sure this firing wasn't his fault, right? If 9,000 Amazon employees got fired, I'm sure, he wasn't like, let me synchronize this. It was just someone at Amazon said, hey, we're going to have to get rid of some people there too, and that's just what ended up happening. So I wouldn't blame him for that. But people are kind of apprehensive about him because he's the one who wrote the little I don't want to call it memo, I guess you can call it, saying that the Twitch fee for subscribers, or I don't know if it's donations or subscribers, was cut down to 50-50 from 70-30. So Twitch streamers made consider
it was 70-30 in favor of the creator or the
creator.
Oh,
creator
man,
got 70%.
That's a huge difference. That's massive.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think subscriptions, not donations, or something like that. I could be wrong though, but yeah.
You gotta love a platform that thinks it should go half and half with you while contributing none of the creative. That's crazy.
To be fair, I think the 50-50 split might I would look this up. Twitch, here, there's some live jankiness right here. Twitch 50-50 split. I think it's specifically for people of a certain bracket in Twitch. I could be entirely wrong about that though. It's the bigger streamers that do 50-50. So if you're a small streamer, I think you still do 70-30.
Still, that's crazy though. I think that's by far the highest revenue share of any of the video platforms. That is insane. That is crazy. I don't know if does that start to compete with Spotify for revenue share?
I have no idea what Spotify is. I just know it's like Spotify works on I don't know what they're like. So is this correct? So Spotify works there's they divvy up the amount of money they make. They take the amount of money they make. I don't know how they and they take a percentage out of that, right? And they say this is what the creators get, and they just literally just slice it by listens, I believe, right? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know what percent of the revenue goes into the pie?
Gosh. See, we talked about this back a year ago when we were talking in depth about Spotify. I can't remember what the actual percentage is, but the whole thing is they're trying to increase their percentage of the Spotify mix, I think. But I don't remember the actual percentage. They also do other, things to try and distort numbers by heavily advertising particular artists who aren't actual established artists, but they will sign someone to a contract, find someone who plays this piano and we're gonna sign you to a contract, heavily advertise you're basic not interesting covers of things on piano, right? And heavily advertise that and give you a ton skew the views that way, or listens.
Yeah, that's what I've heard actually. So that's kind of.
Wait, so I have a question about the Twitch thing because I didn't. I realize there's some ambiguity. is it 50% of the like chats, or I can't, what are they called on
Super
Twitch?
chats?
Yeah, are they also called super chats? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if super chats are affected. Okay. Let's look up this policy.
So is this 50% of the subscription like model thing, or is
Here.
it 50% of ads? Like, what is it of?
50-50. Twitch is now reducing how much money it shares with some of the biggest streamers. Right now, majority of partner streamers 50-50 revenue share on subscriptions. It's subscriptions only, it seems.
Oh, okay. That's actually a little bit more reasonable. I was looking at YouTube. YouTube is 60-40 in favor of the creator, right?
Right.
On YouTube memberships, like when you like sign up to a channel or whatever and become a member, which is a relatively new feature.
Yeah.
I was going to say, isn't that like only a few months old?
Yeah, like maybe a year old, something like that, maximum. But yeah, I guess that makes a lot more sense, because if it was like super chats, I mean that'd be pretty nasty. Because like on YouTube, I'm pretty sure the super chats is like 20 or 30%. On Rumble, it's pretty great. It's 10 to 20% or something like that. It's like 10% less than whatever YouTube is. So,
what is the percentage? I'm guessing you probably don't know, but like for something like Patreon,
Patreon's 30%, I believe.
30.
Yeah.
And locals is 20%.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we get to keep more money, which is great. Yeah, but yeah, that's interesting. Well, is that it for gaming news? Because it'd be a nice transition. Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
I wasn't done with the Twitch stuff. So yeah, a little. So yeah, the reason why we're talking about revenue shares is because I said Daniel Clance, the new CEO, is the guy who like wrote the memo or whatever, saying like, hey, this is what's going to be happening. Emmett Shear has been kind of like AWOL for quite some time as a CEO, and it seems like he's been kind of like just like a dude who like doesn't necessarily want to be here anymore necessarily. And he, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't seem like he's making many of the big decisions and stuff like that. It probably was, the vice president doing a lot of that kind of stuff. So that makes sense why he wrote that. And I'm going to guess that that Emmett Shear saw the 400 play layout thing and was like, I don't want any part of this, and he left. So that's my guess as to what happened.
Well, it's a nice like smooth transition point, right? Like you can just blame the new, or it'll always be perceived as the new guy's like fault, regardless.
Yeah.
So
yeah. On
Amazon's side, it's also convenient.
Mm-hmm. The general sentiment seems that Daniel Clancy would be a lot less, he'll be a lot less passionate about the project because he didn't create the project himself, or like Emmett Shear, and might be a lot more money focused, which is like obviously the job of the CEO or whatever. But there's also like being like ethical and things like this that they need to take into account that one might not do potentially. Some background: he worked at NASA, Google, and Nextdoor, so he has some experience in running things. Yeah. So the thing is, I'm curious how things will go. So basically, what happened at the start of lockdowns is these streaming platforms started to expand quite rapidly because everyone chilling out their homes, and what do? They put on Twitch or whatever, maybe YouTube streaming, whatever it is, right? And so they actually had a big hiring spree. So there's that. And then they eventually I guess had to fire a bunch of people. But this is a general trend across the industry, and it seems that streaming is contracting now, right? We've passed the peak, and now it's just a decline from here. And so it makes me wonder if things like Rumble will So what was happening is we're getting now a more even playing field, right? Because during like pandemic times, like the people who are winning were really winning,
Yeah.
They were winning by quite a bit.
Yes.
But now we're on more even turf, right? And now you also have a lot more negative sentiment towards Twitch. You have Kick, the new competitor that is just Twitch, but it's not Twitch. You have Rumble, you have YouTube, things like this, right? I'm curious what will happen to Twitch because they don't seem to ever really evolve. Pretty much, they seem to be pretty much the same thing, except it gets worse So,
Oh yeah. The fact that they still don't have an improved codec, but YouTube is like YouTube, which started much later in the game, is like leaps and bounds ahead in their video quality on live streaming. Is just a testament of failure to me.
that being said, Twitch is a lot less delayed, but I think I don't know how important that really is.
Well, on YouTube, you can choose less delayed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you have a choice on YouTube.
Man, I don't think you have a choice on Twitch as far as
you
I know.
don't.
I think
We actually stream at the Twitch standard on all platforms because it keeps things nice and easy to push out from the computer's end. But
Gotcha.
so like we're degraded to the Twitch standard because that's the lowest standard out of anything I'm pushing out to.
That's weird because like that's their only job, right? Is just
that's the only thing they do. Exactly. It's literally the only thing they do.
I'm wondering if maybe they're getting a little bit too comfortable, and
Rumble looks a lot nicer than Twitch live streaming.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
If they're getting a bit too comfortable, this is like it's a common business story, and then they die, and that's how that works. But yeah, so that's happening, and a former Twitch streamer who was banned at some point named Destiny, who went on YouTube, actually got a deal from both Rumble and Kick. So he, I think, has a 2-year deal with Rumble now for streaming, and he has a 3-month deal with Kick or something like that. It's not an exclusive thing. Obviously, it's two platforms here. It's like just like one, just certain number of streams per month or something that has to be on the platform and stuff like that. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, that's all I have for news. I just keep an eye on the streaming industry. Also 2K, not 2K, Take-Two also laid off a bunch of people, but the number's unknown. So there's that.
Okay, so that still provides an excellent transition to my news, which is a short update from the last topic that we talked very long about, because we had Post and I think it was Kai actually. Post and Kai were asking tons of questions while I was talking, and elongated the episode quite a bit, but it was good because it was a great learning but not financial advice episode. But yeah, so we're going to talk about industry real quick. I just wanted to let you know that this week, if you've been paying attention, I don't know anything that's going on anywhere else than in the finance world. I am honed in on the finance world this week. These next 2 weeks are going to be so entertaining in the worst ways possible. I mean, at least it'll be entertaining in the sense that, like, lots of things will be going on. Probably not good things, though, so in that sense, it won't be as entertaining. But we talked. I'm not going to rehash, like, what I talked about last week, so just check out last week's episode if you want to know about how bank runs occur and all that kind of stuff, and how it relates to you as a regular person or an artist, and how you might change, not based off of what I say, but on your own independent research, what you do. So just some updates on that whole situation. I was 100% correct. I said this would not be the last one, or the last 3, technically, 2.5 failures to occur. We had a somewhat silent failure occur overseas in Switzerland with Credit Suisse. It was not initially pitched as a failure because there was a funding solution given to Credit Suisse until we got the charts the next day, which was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. So basically, if you didn't know, Credit Suisse is a Swiss bank. It is a gigantic bank. I believe they might be just slightly smaller than SVB, but I'd have to double check that. But I knew who Credit Suisse was, but when I had not known what SVB was. And Credit Suisse basically had a lack of liquidity. I'm going to leave the details out of the whole thing. But the government, the Swiss government, basically, and this is Switzerland, this is kind of what they do, like, this whole banking thing. But this is like, their economy is finance, practically. So the Swiss government basically came in and said, we're going to provide any and all liquidity required in order to make sure that you stay afloat. And in exchange, so that we're buying something, we're going to nationalize you. So effectively, so Credit Suisse has basically become a national bank of Switzerland, which is now government controlled. And the charts that we got the next day. So if you've seen the stock market charts of Credit Suisse before, they had dropped like some 50% of value over like a month or something like that. Insane. And this was happening, by the way, without, like, it's impressive how much the financial sector crashed silently. Like, because I don't follow the finance sector specifically. I don't have any investments in the finance sector. So, I know Crime says Credit Sussy is nationalized. That's funny. So, yeah, it's crazy how much...
Where is messages showing up? I don't actually see this.
You don't see... Oh, it's on YouTube.
They're on Discord, at least.
Yeah, they're...
It's... for some reason, I feel like the messages from Discord up on the like live chat on YouTube.
Yeah, it's showing up on my YouTube live chat.
They're showing up on like the scrolling thing on the side of the video, but they're not showing up in the live chat.
Interesting. Strange.
Very weird. I'll have to look into that later. I wonder if there's some auto-filtering happening, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, so it makes it a little bit hard to see the actual, stream of messages that are coming in.
Yeah. Well, at least we have them on the screen appearing, which is good.
The thing is, I don't actually know how to make, like, okay, how do you get it so that Skype isn't dumb and doesn't cut, like, things off? You know what I'm saying?
What?
Like, like Skype will, like cut off your video. Like, my video is, like, I guess you can't, it's hard to tell, but the preview of you and my Skype thing is cut off the bottom.
Oh, I think you have to click it, and expand it?
Clicking it does nothing, no.
Oh.
Double clicking it just goes full screen on like everyone's thing though, not just yours.
Yeah, I don't really know. That's actually really annoying.
I just always have used Discord for the chat because I have no means of like making sure like there's no like extra message cut off. So,
which is a great advertisement for our Discord, which you can guarantee all chats will appear if you go on Discord and chat there. Link in the description.
I was saying is actually it doesn't show up there. I don't see 99 Crimes things there. That's the issue.
Oh wait, what? What is this scam?
I see your message though, which is a little weird.
Okay, that's going to require some investigation later. It might be actually YouTube like actually auto filtering it, and for whatever reason, the API is sending it over for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's very strange because what we get, on Discord I can see post and you.
Yeah. And
nothing that is sent from like.
I have not banned you, 909 Crime. I promise. I have not banned you. I just checked. I didn't accidentally do it either, so I don't really understand what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, because like in theory, my messages, like the message, I just wrote hello at the beginning of the server. Normally that shows up on Discord too.
Oh,
it's not
weird.
on Discord.
Oh, so it's not just one account.
It might be an API issue. I'll investigate that later. Sorry about that, but I do see everything personally, so I will read your chats out loud if you put them in there.
I think it's all showing up on like the side of the actual YouTube video.
Yeah,
that's just a little bit harder to see.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, what was I saying? Credit Suisse. Oh yeah, so basically, lack of liquidity. They were nationalized by the Swiss government, practically speaking, and we got the chart the next day. So they were trading at 50% below like some normal level from months before, and you expect that if the government's going to essentially buy the bank, right, in order to account for the assets that they're acquiring without printing money, right? That's the whole. That was supposed to be the good thing, right? They didn't have to print money to do it because they could just spend money, buy the bank, and buy the underlying assets for fair value. Well, they bought the underlying assets for 20% of the value that it was worth. Or at least what the market thought that it was worth, I should say. So what they were trading at was way higher than what the government ended up buying them at, and Credit Suisse saying yes to, which tells you something quite alarming, which is that there's something wrong with the underlying assets that was not even transparent to any of the market, if that makes sense. Why would Credit Suisse say yes to such a haircut? Right, it would be a disgusting haircut, especially if you own stocks in the company and you work there. That would be quite of interest to you, not taking too much of a haircut. So that is quite remarkable news. We have FRC, a different bank that's on life support right now, receive liquidity from other banks who are buying shares in it, kind of as a, I guess, cooperative private effort